If you keep getting prospects being vague with you, like, listen, I just want to make more money, chances are you're triggering your own objections to happen in the first place. So in this video, we're going to go over the 3 most common mistakes that closers make to get these reactions and what to do to not get these reactions and those annoying objections in the first place. First mistake I see closers make is just not being conversational and just doing this weird salesy thing, like just repeating back what the prospect said. As an example, you ask them a question, hey, so what are you doing for a living now? And the prospect says, I'm a nurse. Oh, okay, you're a nurse. I see. And how long have you been doing that for? For 5 years. Okay, 5 years. Well, do you like what you're doing for a living? And the prospect says, yeah, I like it. Okay, so you like it. Okay, what I'm hearing is you like it. Is that right? They're like, yes, I like it. So what that does is now the prospect feels a bit weird. It's like, yeah, I just said that. Because in a natural conversation, when you're talking with your best friend, do you keep repeating back what they said? Okay, so let's say you're talking to your best friend, right? Do you talk like that? Probably not. It's just not conversational. Another example is doing the throwaway words like, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, awesome. As an example, so the prospect starts talking and then the closer doesn't do anything. They don't say anything. And then after they're done talking, you're like, okay, gotcha. Okay, so what about this? A lot of the reasons why closers do this is because they don't know what to say next, or they get lost in the conversation, or they don't have a framework on how to go about the conversation next. So they're trying to buy time. This actually doing is really making the prospect feel like it's not a natural conversation. And because it doesn't feel like a natural conversation, the prospect starts to shut down more and more and more. Now they give you more service to your answers, like 1 or 2 words, not really emotional. They're holding the card closer to the chest instead of giving you like, yeah, it's really frustrating, stressed out. Or they may even say that to you, but back of the mind, they feel like it's just something wrong about the conversation. There's something off. I don't think this person's really listening. Because of that, at the end, they give you objections like, yeah, I don't know if this will work. Let me think about it. That's a lot of money. There's like a weird buffer because in a natural conversation, how it works is like a ping pong. You say something, they say something, back and forth, back and forth. But if it's like, gotcha, okay. And another thing too, as a side note, a lot of times what closers do that, where they repeat back what the prospect just said. Oh, so what I'm hearing is this, is because in the traditional sales world, they heard that that's a good advice. Like that's a good principle to do. Like repeat back what the prospect says. That way they know you're actually listening. Yeah, but in a natural conversation, you're not really doing that. So it feels weird. It feels like a sales conversation. The times you repeat back what the prospect says is when you're using it as a probing question. As an example, the prospect says, yeah, it's just been really stressful. And then you can say something like stressful, because the point of what you're trying to do there is you're trying to expand on that pain. Stressful, and then the prospect's usually going to respond with, yeah, it's really stressful because I'm working a lot of hours, I'm just not making enough money. So we got to understand, why are we doing what we're doing on the call? Because if you don't know why you're doing it, essentially you're an order taker, you're a robot, you're a parrot. And it's good that you're implementing, you're doing whatever that you heard it from, maybe from a book, from a course, whatever it may be. But we also want to understand, yes, implement fast, that's fantastic, but also understand, why are we doing this? Because if we don't know, we're just shooting in the blind. So if you're just repeating back blindly, then we just don't know what's going on. So we got to understand the purpose behind it. That way we can use it at the right time in the right context. Because a lot of times the reason why closers have a tough time making sales and really running a proper sales conversation is because they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. And because of that, they're just going on blind. So what you want to do instead is you want to do something called a back channel and bridging into the next conversation, the next question. As an example, what is a back channel? A back channel is, as the other person is talking, you're doing the sounds like, uh-huh. Ah, okay. Right. You're doing stuff like that. So you're not doing that every 2 to 3 seconds, because most of the times it can be a bit excessive, depending on the exceptions. A lot of times you can do every 7 to 9 seconds or so, depending on the context, if you want to be technical about it. You're using the back channel and you're towards and swinging into the next question. As an example, instead of just sitting there silent as the prospect's talking, and then you ask the next question like, how long have you been doing that? Because that just feels too robotic. What you do is, oh, how long have you been doing that? So back channel, bridge. Oh, how long have you been doing that? Okay, do you like it? You see how that works? So when you do that, it feels a lot more natural and conversational, which does what? Lowers the prospect's guard, help them open up more. And so they're going to give you more the real answers, like the more emotional stuff about the real problems, about the real goals. And they trust you more. They feel understood. They feel heard. And what does it do at the end? It reduces your chance of getting those objections because they trust you more. They're looking at, okay, this person, I feel like they're listening. I think they understand what I'm trying to say. And I think they've been where I'm trying to go. And so they're more likely to follow your lead. Prospects need and want someone that can can follow the lead. People want to be led. Human beings want to be led. Second mistake that a lot of closers make is being too monotone in their sub-communication. So sub-communication, it applies to your facial expression, your tonality, and your body language. Essentially, the non-verbal language. Everything other than your words, sub-communication. So a common mistake that people make is they just look too tense in their face, and in tone, they're just too monotone. Because if you're going like, okay, so how long have you been doing that? Okay, well, do you like what you're doing for a living? Is it working? Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. If you're doing that, it's going to be more difficult for the prospect to actually open up to you because they feel like, oh, this person really not listening. They don't look interested at all. So they're going to shut down more. At the end, they're going to give you those objections. So on the flip side, what you want to do is you want to have more modulation in your tonality, your facial expression, body language, and you got to use it at the right time in the right context. So in our sales training community, the Real Sales System, we actually have a sub-communication decision tree. Let me actually pull that up. So this is the decision tree. Yes, you have the question decision tree, right? But also you want to have the sub-communication because here's the thing. If you want to get access to some of the decision tree that we're going over right now, comment below decision tree underneath this video. I can't share the whole thing because it's for our full community members, but I'll show you a little bit of it. That way you can use it on your sales calls to have a better framework, navigate better the calls, help people open up, so you can actually close more deals. Here's the thing. We all heard it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But I think a lot of people just ignore this and don't really take it that seriously. But like, here's the thing. You ever know a closer on your team or like any of the offers you've been on? It doesn't feel like he's pulling out some crazy reframes out of his back pocket. For some reason, he's just closing deals like hotcakes. So how is he doing that? Well, it's because the way he talks, it just looks so welcoming, speaks with a lot of conviction because he looks engaged. The prospects open up to them and they just hand in their credit card details. That's usually what happens. You're selling to predominantly a Western cultured prospects. Each country has a little bit of nuance where you customize it to their culture. Generally speaking, they're more animated. They like smile. That's their social cue. And so because of that, you want to match that. There are times to match it. There are times like sometimes people take the mirroring concept wrong, but in this case, you just want to do that because that's what they respond well to. So you're going to go and like smile a little bit when you go in on Zoom, right? A lot of people go in too timid and passive. I think that's part of it is because they're trying to be neutral, but them trying to be neutral, they end up being timid. You don't want to confuse the two. You're still going collected confidence while you're just being neutral with your words. Big difference there. So calm, confident, laid back. And then when it comes to your first question, when you're trying out your overarching desired outcome, which is what is the overarching goal that the person wants? In that case, you want to go more curious upward inflection. Do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business? Break that down. Instead of saying, do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business? Because that's too stale. So what you want to do is, well, do you know what you're looking for? Upward inflection, curious face tonality when it comes to what you want out of a business. What that does is when you look curious, the other person wants to clarify and actually explain. That's just how human brains work. That's human psychology 101. So how do you have a curious tonality? It starts with your face. Look more curious, right? Maybe raise your eyebrows a little bit. Do you know what you're looking for? Body language, right? Do you know what you're looking for? Open your eyes a bit wider, right? Do you know what you're looking for? And also in your tonality, what you want to do is when you want to have an upward inflection, you want to speak from the front of your throat. Generally speaking, you want to speak from your gut because what that does, it gives you more volume. It gives you more depth in your voice. You sound like you have more conviction and more certainty. Now you're naturally going to have an upward curious inflection in a tonality. Later, when you go into problem, let's scroll down here. When it comes to, you're talking about a problem, right? Here's the problem. The sub-communication that goes with that is like the curious concern. So let's say the person's talking about like, yeah, I just been paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck? Break down what we did. Instead of going paycheck to paycheck, what do you mean by that? They're not going to open up that much, right? But if you're going like paycheck to paycheck, so first you're going in, you're not too concerned like, oh, paycheck to paycheck. That's too serious. They're going to be like, this is kind of weird. But also you're not curious, like, paycheck to paycheck? They're going to be like, yeah. It's like, I'm talking about a problem. Like this person seems too excited, right? So it's in the middle, curious and concerned. Paycheck to paycheck? So let's break it down. First, what you want to do is clench your eyebrows together, look a bit like front your eyebrows a little bit, tilt your head a little bit. Paycheck to paycheck? As if you're trying to find out, what's going on here? Paycheck to paycheck? Or a little bit of upward inflection, a little bit concerned. Paycheck to paycheck? Like, yeah. Oh, how long has it been going on? So you lower your tone a little bit. How long has it been going on? So now you start to speak from the middle to like the bottom of your throat. Oh, how long has it been going on? And then I'd be like, like 3 minutes. I mean, I've been there too, but what's that doing to you? And you want to slow down a bit more there when you're talking about more emotional stuff, like the problem with their active emotional goals, because that's going to help them open up more. Okay, the third mistake that closers make is this probably one of the bigger ones, being too repetitive with their questions. As an example, let's say you ask the prospect the question. So do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business? And let's say the prospect says, yeah, so I'm a nurse right now. And what I want to do is I want to get a secondary source of income. Okay, cool. What are you doing for a living now? If you ask them that, they already said they're a nurse. And then you're asking them again, what are you doing for a living? What does it do? Now the prospect feels like, oh, like I said, I'm a nurse. So they just told you that. So they feel like they're being repetitive. Now they feel like you're not really listening that much in the conversation. It feels scripted and they're going to feel like, is this person even listening? So they either want to hang up or they keep being surface area with their answers to give you an objection at the end. Listen to what the prospect is saying. That way you can be more present in the conversation. So if they already answered it, you don't ask the question they already answered. Like with the sales script, it's like, oh, I need to ask these questions every time. You're like this robot. Then it doesn't feel like a conversation to the prospect, which is why you want to have a decision tree. Like if they already answered it, you move on. The objective is to get the answers we need to get, uncover the information we need to get in order to move this towards a sale. Questions are simply a means to an end. So if they already answered the thing, then we don't need to ask the questions. As simple as that. You got to know your process on the sales call back to front, meaning that you know exactly what answers you're looking for and what they sound like for what you sell. Because if you don't know that, then how are you supposed to navigate through the conversation, right? Which is why you want to have a decision tree. If this, that, if that, this, which sounds mechanical, but if you have that in your mind, if you go into the sales call, it's going to feel a lot more natural. You have to navigate through this. On the flip side, if you don't have any sales script and you go in, unless you have like 20 years of sales experience, you go in. Because at this point, if you're listening to this, yes, you have an offer. That's great. You're an established offer as a closer. You're closing deals and then you have some experience, but you still need a framework. You go in and then you don't have any framework. Like now you're going to be more in your head because you're only going to think about is what am I going to say next? If you don't have a framework, if you don't have a clear process, then you're just going to be more in your head, which is why you want to know your process back to front. Have a good process, repetition, do it until you cannot get it wrong. And more importantly, get the right feedback. Because if you don't get the right feedback, if you just keep doing the reps, then congratulations, you're only getting better at being worse. Okay, now that we've gone over all the mistakes, now let's see how that looks like in real time. So we're going to go over some role play demonstrations. Okay, the bad examples, what not to do, how they sound like, and what to do. Let's dive into it. Yeah, so do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business?
I just want to make a bit more money and have a bit more freedom with my time.
Gotcha. Okay, so like I'm curious, what are you doing for a living now?
I'm working as an accountant.
Okay, I mean, awesome. So I'm curious. Curious, John. I'm like, how long have you been working as an accountant for?
For like 3 years right now.
Awesome, 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like what you're doing for a living?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it pays the bills.
It pays the bills. Gotcha. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're liking it. So, like, is there anything you'd change about your job if you could?
Yeah, as I said, I just want to start a business so that I can make more money and have more freedom with my time.
Freedom with your time. I see. I see. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you want to have more time freedom. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business?
Yeah, I just want to make a bit more money and have more free time.
Okay. What are you doing for a living now?
I work as an accountant.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
3 years now.
Okay. Do you like what you're doing for a living?
No, I just I want to change it up a bit and make more money, like I said.
Okay. But why do you want to change it?
I just said I just want to make a bit more money and have more free time.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business?
Yeah, well, I'm working as a nurse right now, and I really want more free time and just to make a bit more money.
Okay. What are you doing for a living now?
Like I said, I'm a nurse right now
Oh, okay. How long have you been doing that?
for like 3 years now.
Okay. I mean, do you like what you're doing for a living?
Not really. I just want to change it up a bit so I can have more free time with my life.
Okay. But like what about your job? Like, would you change if you could?
My job entirely, like I said, I want to start a business and so that I can make more money and have more free time.
Oh, okay. So that is what you don't want to do. That's going to trigger vague answers and objections. Now let's go through an example of what to do. Okay, do you know what you're looking for when it comes to what you want out of a business?
Yeah, I want to get more freedom with my time and make more money.
Okay, cool. What are you doing for a living now?
I'm working as an accountant.
Ah, okay. Smart guy with the numbers. How long have you been doing that?
Kind of. 3 years.
That's quite a while. Do you like it?
Not really. I just pays the bills, man. You know?
Okay. I mean, pays the bills. That's good. But what don't you like?
I just don't really have any time freedom with it. I work at a 9 to 5, and I'm not making as much money as I want to make.
I see.
That's all there is to it.
Okay. If you enjoyed this video, you may also like this video where we go over how to uncover pain from the prospects, how to go deeper into the pain so you can prevent more objections from happening in the first place. You can click right here. I'll see you there.